us on Startup Street. Now, data science and analytics firm Tredence has announced its second and largest ESOP buyback program worth $30 million. This comes on the heels of its $175 million Series B fundraise. The buyback will include over 270 employees globally. Eligible employees will participate in the repurchase and liquidate 40% of their vested ESOP units. Now, the Advent-backed startup will buy back shares from its employees at a premium of nearly 5 times the book price. And joining me now to discuss the company's ESOP program and the growth blueprint is Shubh Bhaumik, the co-founder and CEO of Tredence, and my colleague Aishwarya. Shubh, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. So you've decided to reward your employees via a $30 million ESOP buyback program. Talk to us about the eligibility criteria and the rationale behind this move.
Arundhati. So this is an option. They don't have to participate, but it's an option for our employees. They can exercise up to 40% of whatever they have invested. So I think let me take a step back and start with why we are doing this, right? So as an organization, we have always believed in transparency. We've always believed in empowering our people, making them partners in the risk-reward framework, and this ESOP program enables us to tie incentives with that framework. So who do we award these ESOPs to? Our earliest employees who took most amount of risk and joined an unproven company. Also, other folks who have joined us over the years and have had a disproportionate impact in our success and have been rewarded. They also have been rewarded by options. Now, there's a bit of a challenge though in our industry, Arundhati, which is there is a lack of trust sometimes regarding the value of the ESOPs, right? And why is that? I think there is sometimes a lack of transparency. Things are done informally, expectations are set informally, and it's not tracked very well in the system. Also, there's a lot of hype, sometimes about the actual value of the option, which doesn't play out in reality. And lack of liquidity, obviously, is also another problem because these are private options, right? So these issues, these problems causes trust issues. So the reason we are doing this buyback is basically to ensure that we don't fall into the same trap, right? So we have always maintained 100% transparency. Our option holders know how the value was calculated, the number of outstanding options, etc. Everything is tracked in a platform called Carta, so they know how much that they have vested, etc. at any given point in time individually, right? So they can log into the system and know what's going on. By the way, there is no discount.
Absolutely. No, Shubh, I also want to understand from you that the ESOP buyback comes on the heels of $175 million Series B fundraise, right? And it's the second ESOP buyback within 2 months. So how are you using the capital from the fundraise? And you were looking to foray into insurance and healthcare verticals as well. Where do you stand on that front?
So it's, let me correct you there. So it's not the second ESOP buyback in 2 months. 2 months back, we actually did the fundraise. We are now using a portion of the fund that we raised to do the ESOP buyback. The last time we did this was early 2021, so about 2 years back. By the way, back then the value of the ESOP was, so since then the value of the ESOP has grown by 5 times. So if we were able to do X back then, now we are able to pay 5X of that value. But yeah, it's not in 2 months. Can you repeat your second question again?
I just wanted to check with you that you were looking to foray into the insurance and the healthcare vertical. So where do you stand on that front?
Sure. Yeah, we are getting started. We are aggressively starting to speak with certain customers. We're building the pipeline, the funnel for those verticals. Similarly, in healthcare, we are very close to hiring I think a very exceptional leader who will take charge of that vertical. So work is on. It's still, I would say, a few things are still, to be officially announced. So just yeah, we should be officially kind of launching the leaders who will take charge of those verticals very, very soon.
All right, Dhruv, thank you so much for joining us today, and we wish you the very best of luck with all your future plans.
Much. Thank you.
Coming up, Audible India gets Marvel's Wastelanders to the country. A special conversation coming up next.
Welcome back. You're watching Startup Street. Creator and provider of premium audio storytelling, Audible gets podcast series Marvel's Wastelanders to India. Based on the popular English series, the new Hindi adaptation will feature many Indian actors in the roles of Marvel superheroes. While Kareena Kapoor will feature as Black Widow, Saif Ali Khan will be the Star-Lord in the audio series. The 10-episode scripted podcast will be available at no additional cost to all Audible members. Our colleague Ritu Singh caught up with Shailesh Solani and Karen Appathurai Wiggins of Audible to talk about the collaboration and more. Take a look.
Yes, it's a very exciting time for us in India, especially for local content. This is the first ever collaboration that Marvel has done with Audible, and we're super excited that we're able to bring the Marvel's Wastelanders series to India, but not only just bringing it to India, bringing it in local language as well. Yes, you're right, we've been able to bring in some amazing cast of artists from India to play our characters. We've got Saif as Star-Lord, we've got Kareena Kapoor as Black Widow. Never thought we'd see them again, performing together again, but here we are.
New market, right? I mean, when you started here 4 years ago, for instance, how big was the listenership? How popular were audio books, and how has the trajectory been in these past 4 years? How much have you been able to grow your business?
Yeah, so I can talk about it in terms of Audible first, and then looking at the broader landscape. So when we launched in November 2018, we just completed 4 years. India was already very quickly one of the fastest growing marketplaces for Audible ever. If you look at X many number of years in, we were one of the fastest growing marketplaces for Audible. And that's even for our paid subscription offering. So just to give you a sense and a sense of the growth, in 2022, we had a 40% increase in paid member listening hours. So that gives you a sense of just our paid subscription as well. But of course, we also have a free offering with hundreds of titles of free content as well, which are helping expose new people and help them discover Audible for the first time. And as they come in, they discover and they get habituated, then they decide to take a subscription as well.
How many customers would Audible have, out of which you said 40% are paying customers?
No, so we had 40% increase in our paid member listening hours just in 2022.
Okay.
But to give you a sense in the broader audio landscape, in the audiobook and podcast landscape specifically, there's research that says that there was only about 4 million listeners in 2016. That's gone up to 90 million in 2022. So that's in the broader landscape, of course. But of course, we're very proud of the contribution that we've had in actually, helping create this category from the very bottom up in India.
All right. So, what's the market share now? Where have you gone in the last 4 years?
We're just at the start. We're just at the start of this audio revolution. The relative position is less of focus. I think it's about how we stay very focused on the customers.
So how many of your customers are paying again?
We don't share data about our individual marketplaces, but what I can say that, from just looking at last year, seeing a growth of 40% in just paid listening hours alone.
On a smaller base, though.
Yeah.
On a smaller base, the 40%
we've been doing it for
growth.
4 years, and like I said, if you compare how we've done versus the other marketplaces, 4 years in, India has been on the fastest, right? So you look at the kind of marketplaces that we have been in, right? Those are marketplaces that have been well accustomed to digital subscriptions and paying for content. So to think that customers are actually doing that and taking the leap in India and paying for our service has been really encouraging. Which is why we've been encouraged to actually proceed with some of our plans, like investment in these collaborations, which is what we're doing today.
So speaking of collaborations, and Karen, if you take that, so Marvel is one of the ones that we've seen. We've seen interesting collaborations in the past, but what's in the pipeline now? what's in store for Audible listeners in India in future?
Yeah, we've got some incredibly exciting collaborations coming up, some of which we're going to be revealing in the coming days at Comic-Con.
But give us a hint, give us a sense.
Sure. Well, we have a very exciting collaboration with author Amish Tripathi, which is coming up later this year.
For his Naga, the book series?
Actually, it's something a little outside that, so it'll be exclusive to Audible. So that's a really exciting opportunity for our customers. That's right. Well, it's an audio experience. Let's just call it that.
All right.
We've got an incredible opportunity that we've got coming up to announce at Comic-Con in the next couple of days with Chetan Bhagat. Again, another exclusive opportunity for Audible customers. And there's a few more other exciting opportunities coming up later in the year. I wish I could tell you more. I guess it's just a matter of watch this space. But we are really committed to investing in the local talent here and local stories, and we'll continue to do.
So if I were to ask you, say 5 years down the line, what is the vision for Audible, its business in India, the outlook, what kind of increase in listenership you're looking at, what kind of increase in revenues you're eyeing?
So I think we're, if we look 5 years down the line and we look at what success would look like down the road, for sure, I think we would want to be in a position where we've got tier 2 and tier 3 or listeners from tier 2 and tier 3 cities to actually have adopted Audible in the same way that we've seen, in the metros and with the English and Hindi speaking audiences. We would like to see that in all the regional languages as well, and that I think we would have cracked both, India as well as Bharat.
How many
quite well.
regional languages are you currently available in? How many more do you plan to add?
We have content obviously in English. We have a comprehensive offering in English
Hindi,
and in Hindi.
Yeah.
We also have content in Tamil, in Bengali, in Urdu, and in some other languages. Of course, we're still building that.
And with that, it is a wrap on this edition of Startup Street. More news